What's coming out? No, I'm saying what's coming out in cinemas in the upcoming years.
Oh, the new Batman movie is coming out in 2021.
What Batman?
The one with Robert Pattinson?
With who?
The new one that's coming out.
With who?
Robert Pattinson.
No.
The dude that plays Twilight. What's Edward in Twilight?
He's going to be Batman. What happened to Ben Affleck? He got kicked.
Let's be real.
Hi, Blossom.
Oh, hello. I'm just going to make it bigger. Oh, there you are. Perfect.
Can't see me yet. I can
Let's
just
be
see.
real. 2016, 2017 DC. We don't count that. We don't count Jared Leto. We don't count.
Okay. I've got a 7 p.m. meeting. You're welcome to sit and listen. Okay. I've just at the dining room table, and I've just shifted down to the other end where the computer was all set up. So we're just finishing up dinner, so that worked in well.
Yeah, I've just given Chris his dinner, so just scraped that in, so that was good.
I've literally walked from the end of the table where my food has just finished shoveling in and come and sat down on this bit.
I'm just noticing my hair. I've been taking these supplements because my hair was falling out.
Oh.
And my hair's growing back. Can you see the little bits?
Yes.
And all up here, like I was getting really scared. I really thought, that something was wrong, and had organised to go and see this specialist up in Sydney. And then I remembered I had bought a skin, nail and hair supplement like 15 months ago that's been sitting in my cupboard. I bought like 3 packets of it, and I was cleaning out the cupboard and found them. I went, oh, I might try those. So here I am. Yeah, no, I was just looking and going, oh, I really should have brushed my hair beforehand. But anyway.
You know, with the hair supplements, you just saved yourself the travel, the time, the cost of the specialist, or just
all of those things. Although I do have a sneaking suspicion that there's a thyroid thing going on as well.
I was just going to say to you, thyroid, because when if I have a look at you, the outer edges of your eyebrows are starting to thin.
Yeah. And it's also it's quite common once you get into your 50s to have hair loss anyway. But if you've had surgery as well on top of that also, and because I've had a gastric sleeve done,
your nutrition intake will be
correct.
Different. Yep.
Yeah. So all of it, I know it's all of those factors, but it's very, very scary when you've had thick hair to suddenly like, oh my God, look at my hairbrush. Anyway, not something that we should be having on Zoom being recorded, I suppose.
Oh, well, I can press pause. Where's the pause button? Resume. There, it's recording again.
Okay. So because I've now read for you, I don't need to go into any sort of explanations. And the great thing is once that connection's been made, it's just always there. So even if you rang me like 2 o'clock in the morning and went, this is happening, what am I supposed to be doing? They just click straight in and go, this is what you need to do. Not that I'm switched on all the time for people, but, for emergencies, it's there, which is great.
That's good to know. Yep. So do I start with my questions now, or do we just wait to see what comes through?
See what's coming in, the initial sort of thing. What's the discussions with the car?
Okay, that's the other questions I was probably going to ask you. Okay. Yes, so there's two parts to this. The first part is we have a rental property, and the tenant has moved out. and it's perfect timing because you know, most people aren't getting rent anyway.
No.
So do I rent it out again, or do I stick my boys in there? Now the issue is that the one boy who's 20 doesn't drive. The boy that's 19 does drive, and the question is, you know, then he'll need a car because it's a suburb that has very little public transport. But he's already
property.
Sorry?
Whereabouts is it? Is it near West End?
Well, everything's near West End. Like it's Palaranda, so it's kind of, yeah.
They just showed me, I mean, I lived in West End. So
yes, yeah.
West End, so I'm like, oh, it must be near there then, because the
Yeah,
hills.
like as the bird flies, you know, if you just went straight across the town common, you know, yes. But if you have to drive all the way out of Palaranda, it's one road in and one road out.
Yeah.
So, you know, the boy that could drive, he had one of our vehicles and crashed that, and the insurance company did a doozy on us and basically said, even though we'd bought it for $11,000, they said it was only worth $2,000 and didn't pay up. So
okay, do you want me to tell you as it, because they're starting to chatting? So the first thing they're saying is, you have two boys who are absolutely determined that, oh, we can live on our own, we can do this, we can.
They think they can. Yes.
Correct. Let me finish. So they've got this mindset, right? And so to prove the point, right? Because you're not going to get the rental income anyway for the next 6 months. So you do an agreement with them that for the next 6 months, yes, or for at least a minimum of 3 months, where you turn around and go, okay, yes, you can move in there. And in some ways, they will find their strengths more than they realize, but they'll also fuck it up and in some ways as well. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, that is the concern. They're two personalities in the same house without parents.
But it's a safe opportunity for them to do this without it being A, someone else's property, and B, around other people. So it's also to prove to them, see, you can't do everything on your own and you don't know everything and blah, blah, blah. So it's the most perfect time. Now, the best thing is, because it's a rental property, obviously any repairs and things that you do before the real tenants go in is obviously money that you're going to get back. Right?
Yep.
So it's important to know that this isn't a permanent fixture. It is only a very short-term thing. And it's to show them that they are not as ready as they thought they were.
That's right.
And that, mum maybe actually knows best, but here we go, you know. It's going to allow in some ways, your youngest boy is older than your older boy.
Yes.
Right. How they're showing me is like there are qualities of the younger boy that is fantastic. Is he the one with the driver's license? Or
yeah.
Right. Well, that makes perfect sense. So, you know, it gives an opportunity for him to step up and actually help his brother in that way, but also there needs to be some angst in that level to make your oldest son catch up with what he should be doing as the older brother.
Yeah, I think the older one's kind of emotionally stunted at about 13, because that's when he sort of started his journey with drugs. So that is the...
I understand that.
Yeah.
I think my biggest thing I need to tell you is the place is not going to fall down around the ears. It's not going to get burnt up. It's not going to be...
Okay. I'm more concerned about it turning into a drug house.
There are some stipulations that you have to have, and that is that you have access at all times. that you are allowing this rental to happen as an extension to them living at home. But don't think that I'm not going to turn up at 11 o'clock at night or 2 o'clock in the morning. Be aware that that may happen.
Yes, okay.
So as long as those ground rules, the drug thing, how old's the older one?
20.
Okay. I mean, the drug thing is definitely around them anyway.
And that's kind of the bit where I don't want the energy in my house anymore. I need a break.
And this is the other side of the coin, is that you as a couple need a break from children. And you know, I'm not one for swearing, but your guide that's coming through at the moment is going, you've got to let them fuck up, basically, without it being at home. I don't see the place being raided, okay? So it's not like...
It's probably more to do with, you know, it's such a sleepy little suburb and everybody knows everyone. And, you know, we still know the neighbours. And I guess it's just not wanting to get into that cycle of bringing more shame.
Well, do you understand that your neighbours are your best ally when it comes to, there's like 20 people over and the music's getting a bit loud, and they need to be aware that your neighbours are there to support you, not them, you know? And the thing is, if they rented out of this cold turkey, just going out and renting, they would get themselves into far more trouble far more quickly than if they didn't have some of the restrictions that you're going to place on this house.
And I mean, the synchronicity is unbelievable. You know, it's available. It's not a great rental market. You know, yeah. So it feels like. It's
the absolute perfect time to do this, but understand that they won't mess up as big as your fear. But there will be moments of parties, yes, right? But it's very positive. It's also to show them that we're not as mature as we thought we were. You know, and we actually don't really know how to move out and look after ourselves, you know. But the biggest reason for doing it is to give you as a couple a break.
Yeah, absolutely. That would,
Right?
and also, you know, just give my daughter a break. You know, yeah.
Well, you know, if your daughter had her way, she'd be sending them off to Israel for 2 years.
Oh, let me tell you. Okay.
She would be happy if they were just not in the country, you know.
So, is it? I mean, is this going to work if there's no car involved? Like there is no vehicle at the moment to lend him.
Yes.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, if he wants one, then he's going to have to find some money and do it.
Yep.
And then there's no money being spent on drugs. There's no money being sent, you know, like. And
yes.
And it's at the moment he can just borrow your car.
He hasn't driven since he crashed the car, so it's since last year.
But that's always that possibility that you can drive him. Do you know what I mean? You take him somewhere, or you know, if I go, I'm going to have to walk down to that and then catch the bus and then do that. So I won't go off and do that. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, he's got to learn to stand on his own 2 feet. And I feel.
So what about? Oh, sorry.
So he does ride a bicycle, yeah.
Yeah. So both of them are on medication, and we've had, you know, some pretty serious. What was essentially what was called a successful suicide attempt earlier this year. So. By the grace of God, I know that my angels and guides actually saved. Absolutely. Because it was very concerning how serious it was. So that's just the other thing is, you know, wanting that aspect for them to move out, just wondering if it's safe.
It's safe as far as any, because they're getting their way. Do you know what I'm saying? the opportunity to move out and the opportunity to be not so restricted at home. And unfortunately, with COVID in operation, it's making it even harder to be at home, because, you know, they are a lot more restricted in what you can and cannot do. So let me tell you that your children are very much guarded and protected. Like, I can see one at the age of between 3 and 4 putting themselves in a situation when they could have sliced their head off, like, you know, like, and being very, very strangely moved away from a certain situation. Like, you know, they're very well protected on that level. Was there something that being taken but also being restricted in breathing as well in that attempt?
Oh yes. Oh,
Okay.
you know, for all accounts, you know, he successfully hung himself.
Yeah, and what like the ring around my neck?
Yes, and
That's
you
what
know,
it feels like. But how would I know that?
Yeah, I know. So he came to the rope ended up breaking, and so he came round 2 songs later, but couldn't feel his body because he had already, you know. So it was, you know, we've had. It was
Yeah,
yeah.
but you could see the picture of your guides trying to break this rope, like his guardian angels trying to break this rope to stop that from happening. I mean, it looks comical, like it really, and it reminds me of a client of mine's son down in Bairnsdale who has tried to kill himself about 5 times, and I said the first time he did it, he put a piece of rope around this beam, and the angels are showing me jumping up and down on the beam until it broke, and then the rope slid out because there was no beam to hold the rope, you know. And the same with your son. They're showing that the absolute like work that had to happen to make that rope break, you know.
It literally, it was. I know there was divine intervention. Absolutely,
yeah.
Like yeah.
So I want to say I don't see any of that whilst they're in the house. Yes, there's drugs around, but not to a point of it being a drug den of things being created or grown there.
Okay.
But
great.
certainly people bringing it in and some usage. But, you know, under the threat of the fact that, you know, that you can walk in at any time and that the neighbours will be keeping an eye on things, is enough to sort of deter 70% of the issues.
Okay.
Okay.
And so, will the move make any mental health issues worse or better for both parties? Like the combination of the 2 boys in there together?
They're very different kids, right? Is there a slight spectrum kind of level with one of the boys?
So the young, they're only a year apart.
Yeah.
The younger one is quite aspy.
Yeah.
And the older one is quite ADHD.
Yeah. So I want to say that our Aspie boy will actually cope surprisingly well and step up even more to being that kind of regulator of the house, and he will blossom of being in charge in a lot of ways, because I think his brother will allow him to you know, to do that. I don't mean being in charge in the rule of the house, but in getting stuff done and you know, having food on the table and just, you know, and having the routines that is required. With you, what's your older son's name?
Maxwell.
Maxwell. So with Maxwell, I feel like a lot of the anxiety that he feels is because he's under pressure because you are an amazing mum, right? And you are there swooping down and trying to make sure that they're all okay and cared for and loved, and that's beautiful. But he doesn't have, or hasn't given himself the capacity to prove and stand on his own 2 feet that it's possible, that he can do it. Do you understand? Because I feel you have a very good way of being swoop in and trying to change the situation so that it has a better outcome, right? But there's a lot of pressure on you and him to keep that on the straight and narrow, yeah? So if he's on his own, the pressure comes off because there's no one looking over his shoulder. And that's kind of what he needs at the moment, to show himself that, you know what, I'm not stupid, I can do this, and I'm going to show everybody. And yeah, he'll fall down a couple of times, but I think it will be a good thing for his confidence that you're going to allow him to do this, because there's a lot of trust issues, and he's broken a lot of that trust. So this is the step to healing towards, well, mum must trust me if she's going to let me move out. Do you understand the backward way of how?
Yeah, well, you know, it's kind of twofold in one sense, because he's that Cancerian, so family's really, really important to him.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's that twofold bit about, you know, because he ran away from home and slept on couches for, you know, while he was, you know, this has been going on since 13. So he's led it.
This is leaving home with your blessing, honey. It's a very different concept. And as scary as it is.
Oh, no, I don't see it as, like, from the age of 18, I said to him, you know, the way I see it, I moved out of home at 18.
Yeah.
You know, from 18 onwards, you know, everything that you say and do is your responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, we're here, but it's, you know, like, it's time to move out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is a really good, safe trampoline for them to be doing. I think your youngest boy will thrive. I really do. Maxwell, I think you'll even be closer to him. I think you'll see more of him.
Well, he's gone off to boarding school and things like that, and when he's away, we get on much better.
Yeah.
There's more gratitude, because I'm not very good with people who aren't grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing that I need to say is it's not for like 12 months. It feels less than 6 months.
Okay.
So it's not them signing a lease. I think it will probably be 5 weeks and 9 days, 5 months and 9 days kind of thing, you know?
Okay.
And it's okay. Well, we've, you know, with COVID, yes, you can move into it. Yes, you can see whether or not it's something that you guys can do. I trust you both, but also know that this isn't a traditional rental that I have to give you 48 hours notice or 60 hours notice.
Yes.
I can come in there at any time. And please be respectful of our neighbours, and you know, our family name is on display, and we you know, the whole point of allowing you to do this is so that you can show us that you're mature enough to be able to go and do this.
Yep.
So if you're in that concept of that, then the reception that you're going to get and the aftermath of what you're going to get is going to be a lot better. Right? So, and I kind of feel, is it more than 2 bedroom?
Well, it's a miner's cottage, so it's two little bedrooms, and then there's a main bedroom. So I was actually going to just lock that door and just give them the 2 small rooms.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good idea. Otherwise, that someone else will move in and not pay anything for it. So I think it's a really good idea to have that other door locked, unless you want a tenant, a freeloading tenant.
Yep.
Okay. So that's a really, really, really good idea. And then some of the things that you don't want them to have can be stored in there anyway.
Yes.
So
Okay. Well, that gives clarity. So that was one of my questions that I needed answered, so that it's a long weekend, so we can move things.
isn't it funny that they kind of bring it up straight away
Yeah.
anyway?
And it really is I guess the car is the big stopping thing of like,
Yeah.
oh,
And
it's
they're
just,
saying it's fine. They,
yeah.
they're going to have to work it out, and he's going to have to work it out. And if he wants a car or a bike, or then that's something that he's an adult. It's something that he has to fix.
Yeah.
That he had the opportunity of a car, and smashed that one. So
Oh, look, it was so ridiculous. If you saw the smash, you would wonder why. Like the insurance, it was just bizarre. It just didn't even. It was just in a supermarket car park. So
yeah,
it was but I trust my guides that they needed to get him off the road for these last couple of months.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
trust that
absolutely.
it's all for, it's kept him safe for whatever was going to happen. Yeah, because it didn't make nothing made sense with that.
But you know what? It's something that he has to sort out. You don't have to fix that situation.
Yeah. Okay, so there was a vehicle, because he was about to get a car, but then Corona happened, and it was my girlfriend's son's car, a friend of theirs, and so he came back, and so he's at home now, so he's using the car. So the car's now not for sale until this all finishes.
And let me tell you that there's going to be a lot of issues with that car very, very, very soon. And you're going to be ever so grateful that you didn't buy the car.
Wow. Because I thought it's in such good condition, and it was like, so that's good.
I'm talking major something like the differential or the transmission, or do you know what I mean? Something that would cost a lot more to fix.
Okay. So even when that does become available, we say no, thank you, or it'll be fixed by then, because her husband's a mechanic, so he knows how to fix stuff. But
yeah, they're usually the worst cars. You know that, don't you?
Okay.
They don't have time to. It's like a painter's house.
Yes.
You know.
Well, he's not a mechanic. He was, that in his younger years. So
it's not. It's not maintained. It's not as well looked after as it should have been, and there are some big mechanical things, and they're kind of saying he needs to find his own way. He needs to be searching for what he wants, and then he's got something to look forward to doing, going, I did that on my own.
Okay.
And I kind of feel that you're just buying more problems if you get this car.
Okay. Super. Well, that's clearing that up.
Yeah. What next would you like to know?
Okay. So yesterday, as I was sort of kind of half pulling into the driveway, I got a phone call. I never answer numbers I don't know. I just happened to answer the number. It got off to a bad start, like as in she got my name wrong. And then she was like, oh, I'm working for the insurance company or something. And she wanted my date of birth. And I said, look, you got my name wrong. I'm not handing over personal information. I don't know who you are. You're going to ask me stuff. So then we sorted it out, and she had then got cross with AMP saying, oh, this is terrible that they wrote my name down wrong. And then I said, well, then we got onto the right foot. And she said, oh, I'm a rehabilitation specialist, and I need to assess you on the phone for an hour. And so tomorrow at 12, that's what we're going to do. So I guess I'm wanting a little bit of clarity on, I felt like I gained good rapport with her on the phone yesterday after our frosty start. I feel like it probably works in my favor a bit that the insurance company wrote my name down wrong.
Yeah, because it puts her on her best foot forward. Yeah. But you also need to understand it's somebody from the insurance company.
So she's not from the insurance company. She is separate to that. She has to write a report so that.
And I tell you,
she's still with it.
She's still with the insurance company.
Okay.
So you need to be as real as possible, not sugarcoat. The more upbeat you are in talking, the more she'll think that you're okay.
Yep.
So if you cry, that's good.
Yep.
If you're, you know, like you need to be as raw as you possibly can.
Okay.
And as you know, that very little pressure in any direction is something that can topple you over as quickly as look at you. Because you come across as someone who's managing and is doing okay.
Yeah.
And you speak very, very well. So they can turn that around and go, well, you know, she's quite capable of holding a conversation. She's quite capable of getting work. She's quite capable of blah, 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 blah. So understand 100% that she works for the insurance company to better their outcomes. And you have to be in that mindset. You have to understand where she's coming from. She might say, oh, look, I'm just an outsider that they've asked to sort of, you know, help you, blah, blah, blah. It's bullshit. Absolute bullshit. They are trying to find a loophole. They are trying to find a kink in your armor that they can exploit to say, this girl is putting it on, she's more than fine. And if you go into this conversation in that mindset, then you are far more prepared to be more realistic in what you're saying and how you are saying it. Does that make sense?
So the one of the takes that I was going to start the conversation with is to say, you know, when she rang, my daughter was in the car.
Yeah.
And, you know, I am trying my best to be a good role model for my daughter.
Yeah.
Because this has affected her and she gets very worried that I can't do things.
Yeah.
Is that a good way to go about it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That you put on this brave face to your family, to your friends, to everyone else, because you don't want to be a burden to anybody. You don't want to worry everybody that you're not coping. Yes, I am not coping. Yes, I have my moments 90% of the time, but I put on this brave face, but it's getting harder and harder to put on that brave face. And I just want this to be over. I don't want to be in this pain anymore. I don't want to have to go and do this treatment anymore. It's all overwhelming. So using those kind of wordings is very much indicative of how, I mean, it's not, you're not lying, you know, like it's very true, but it's how you speak it that they will be listening for. So you're not suicidal, but, you know.
Well, you know, my thing is, I say to people, you know, you're healed when you can tell your story without crying.
Yeah.
I still, talking now, have the tears. So I know that it's not right, and it doesn't
That's
take.
what I need to hear from you tomorrow. Do you understand?
Yeah.
That this is not, you're not going to brush this under the carpet and say that, oh, she's fine, because you're not fine, because this is not a fine situation, and you cling on to that and you be exactly that tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you will anyway, because it is upsetting, and it is a time of absolute pain and absolute agony, and you know, it's hard when we become what's wrong with us rather than who we are. You know, and I look at the relationship I was in after my accident, and the drugs I was on, I became a completely different person. And I can understand why he and I are no longer together, because I was consumed and let you know, this pain and this agony consume me 100%. And I wasn't me anymore. I was this thing that couldn't do anything, couldn't be anything, and just swallowed up in this, you know, like couldn't see in front of myself that it was going to get any better. So I understand the feeling. And you know, and yet we try and be the proactive big person that makes sure that everyone else is still being looked after, but it's getting harder and harder to keep up that pretense, you know. And so if you just are true to yourself in that way, and you know, I'm not saying cry, but you know what, it's not hard to cry when you're going through this anyway.
Well, it's still raw.
Yeah, absolutely raw, and that's what needs to happen. And they don't want you to have that stiff upper lip that everything's going to be okay, because that's not what they need to hear. You know, and words like, you know, I'm drowning in my own life, and I'm, you know, I can't see my way clear. I'm you know, I get despondent, and I get down, and I as you know, that this is going to be my life forever because there's no cure. Some days it's just hard to get out of bed, let alone have to go to the hospital every day and do all of this. And you know, when I'd rather put the covers over my head and just stay in bed and feel sorry for myself, you know. And it's so easy to do that more, but I try to get up and keep going because I have a family that needs me. You know, and it's got to be real, and the more real you are, the better it will be. And then they can't use it against you to say that, oh no, she's fine, she's more than fine, you know, no problem here, doesn't deserve anything, you know, she's one of the better ones, she can cope. And oh, we can keep pushing and she'll give up anyway because it'll just take too long, you know. So does that make sense?
Yep.
So if you're in that, but their biggest thing was, at the end of the day, she works for them. The report will go to benefit them.
Yep.
If it's
am I allowed to ask for a copy of the report?
You should get one anyway. Like,
yeah.
You can ask and say, I would love a copy of this report when it's finished, but your solicitor should get a copy anyway. They have to give, let me think. They can try and hold, because I know that my solicitor kept a couple of reports and he said, that doesn't benefit us, so we're not going to put that forward. Do you know what I mean? So I'm sure that they can do that as well. But on a general note, I think you would be able to get a copy of that report.
Yeah. Am I allowed to record the conversation?
You can, but you are not allowed to. It cannot be used in evidence. But if you want to keep it to make notes later, or to keep on track to let your solicitor know how it went, but your solicitor can't use it and you can't use it in court.
Because I'm sure they'll be recording it.
Oh, I'm sure they will. So I always walked in with my phone on voice recorder in my bra, and so my solicitor knew exactly the questions that they were asking, and so it helped my solicitor just keep on track with what they were trying to get at, or how they were trying to manipulate the situation.
So how far down the track did you get a solicitor?
I got a solicitor, well, I had the criminal lawyer first, because we found the driver and the police took him to court. And then the insurance company, so that was within the first 12 months. And then the insurance company, he got off because of the brilliant barrister that they had. made my testimony wrong by changing the colour of his hair. Like the barrister made him dye his hair a different colour because it was different to what was on Facebook. So, you know, they did, and unfortunately the guy got off criminal charges. So it would have been a good 18 months to 2 years before I decided that I would then do civil proceedings. So, and that was 9 years ago next week. Well, the 9th, actually. It was the 9th of May. So that was 9 years ago. And it took 18 months to 2 years to finally get to a point where I was able to get a solicitor for myself and go from there. But it took 6.5, 7 years to go through the insurance crap that they put me through. But different circumstances, different things, and the insurance company actually stopped paying for my treatment a day after the court case and said, well, he didn't get arrested and thrown in jail, so we're not liable. And it took another 4 years for them to admit liability. So I had really good solicitors and my barrister was amazing. But I paid a lot of money. My solicitor's bill was nearly $400,000. So it was a lot, you know. But am I glad I'm through it and on the other side? Absolutely. Do I feel exonerated? Absolutely. Do I feel on a karmic level that he got his? No, not really. But did I feel like I beat the insurance company? Absolutely. And at the end of the day, they're more crooks than what the crook was himself, you know, because he left me for dead. He just took off. He didn't even stop, you know. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that the long term, you're not going to have as long term as I did, but the insurance company practices are exactly the same, and that's what you're up against. And it's not daunting if you're prepared, right? And I feel like the solicitors you've got are good. Like I don't feel that they're, you know, they're rubbish. I feel that who you've chosen is
Well, I don't have a solicitor yet.
Have you already spoken to somebody though?
No.
Okay, there are 4 business partners to this company, and it's 4 parts to the name. So it might be Wills Bowring Smith Partnerships, or Wills you know, there's 4 parts to the name. Not 4 names, but 4 parts to the title, the business name. And it might be that lawyers is the last part of that name. Do you know what I mean? Or solicitors, that like there might be Wills, Bowring and Simpson solicitors. Do you know what I mean? But there's 4 parts to the name. It's the youngest one that you need to pick. So not someone completely wet behind the ears, but if you look at all 4 of them, because there's 4 main people, it's the youngest looking one, or the sharpest looking one, like the suit clothing that is sharp, you know, is quality. A lot of thought, a lot of preparation gone into how they look. I'm getting a masculine energy, so I want to say male, but I feel like that one of the group is also female, because I feel like there'll be a female and a male helping you. Okay, the logo, has trees or strong leaves, trees as a large concept to the logo kind of thing. I don't mean a tree that's like the proverbial tree of life. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yeah.
But it's not, it's to the leaves, trees as part of the logo, or it might be actually green. And there's a logo that has a circle attached to it. It might be a shield with something in the center, but there's a circle part as well.
I'm actually.
To you actually.
Hey, I'm at. Hey. Just 1 minute. No, I haven't. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
I just hopped on having a look at Townsville solicitors, trying to see if I can see any of, but I will look it up afterwards.
And I feel like that there's 3 colors: yellow, green, and red.
Okay.
As a connection to it as well. So there's something growing. There's a circle and possibly a shield of some kind, and colors red, green, and maybe a gold, or red, green, and yellow. Just to give you and there's 4 parts to the name.
Okay.
Can you look at Brisbane as well, please, not just Townsville?
Okay.
I feel like this particular office may have an office in Brisbane and Townsville, or is based in Brisbane but have solicitors available in Townsville.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I've Googled and I'm looking at logos and Fuller and White solicitors. No, that's black and that. Yeah. I'll keep looking for that tree.
Yeah, there's or leaves or a tree as part of their, like they might have on their website, there might be a forest scene. Do you know what I mean? And then on the left is a shield with the circle as part of the logo.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a bit broad, but it's not if you actually put all of that together.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. It's
Okay.
just to put you in the direction of, and then send it to me, and they'll tell me yes or no. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
And I don't feel that this will be actually. I think October will be the month for this. So don't feel like this has got to be found straight away.
Yep.
Let the insurance company feel like they've got a little bit of control for a little bit. And that'll give you plenty of time to find who you need to find.
Yeah.
10 weeks makes it May, June, mid-July. So July, let's say July 17th to October 15th. Okay? Is the sort of time frame of finding who it is that you're meant. So if you can't find anything now, don't stress. The universe will provide. Okay? I kind of feel like you'll meet one of the partners and he'll be older and you'll be like, oh, He's a bit fuddy-duddy. He's not really, not a lot of knowledge, but not hungry. Do you know what I mean? Not hungry for, but I feel that the knowledge of this man is very good for your case, but I feel it'll be the young gun, the one that's just, you know, hungry to make a win. That is the one that's going to bring it home, and there's a female there supporting and helping as well. See, it's nowhere near as long. You know, I'd be surprised if it takes longer than 2 years.
All up from when I first start with the solicitor, all up from when I first put the claim in?
From when you first start with a solicitor.
Gee, I didn't think it would be going that long.
It is, but hey, we're in end of April already. We're already through a third of the year. Does it feel like you've gone through a third of the year already?
Oh no, time's stretching at the moment. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So this year is going to go very, very quickly, and in a bizarre kind of way. It's almost like they're speeding it up for people. You know, it's a bit surreal. So just understand that tomorrow is the first kind of step, but you're going to be prepared. You're going to be perfect. And you're not going to let them get away with this and brush you under the carpet, you know, because it's not just you. This sets a precedent for others as well. Okay. And that's really, really important. What else would you like to ask them?
Those are the two main.
I had to have a little smile because I'm not one for looking at other things, but they kept on saying, go on Amazon. And I'm going, I already know the book. I don't need to, you know. And I clicked on, and they went, no, not American, go on the Australian one. I went, oh, okay, fine. And then there's that connection through then to the authors, and they're like, where is she?
I know. It means that I've got to scroll back in the chat and find the link where I have to put in the information. And, you know, it's almost like, oh, I know it sounds ridiculous that it's exciting, but it doesn't mean anything to me.
It doesn't mean anything yet. But it's a something that because it needs to be there, and that's why they give you that little kick in the butt, going, "Come on."
Okay. Now, is the fact that this book has got number one, and is this going to affect the insurance claim?
No, not at all. And you can prove that it's wonderful that we have Otter and things like this, because we don't have to physically write it. We can sit and speak and have it typed for us, and that it doesn't take any physical effort to do this. And you know, and to be able to write things down and go through how you're feeling is very much cathartic and helpful. And if someone wants to produce what you've created and make it into a book, then that is, you know, that's going to happen. You're not printing it yourself and delivering it and doing all that sort of stuff. So it's not going to hamper. It's going to help you in the long run with everything else that we've got planned for you. So, and they're just saying, dot the I's, cross the T's, you haven't done this. So that's why they're wanting you to. So who's the other publishing that's going to distribute? Who's offered to distribute it for you?
Well, actually, Catherine Mora has had a book picked up by a commercial distributor before, and her book was in Big W. So what she did was she actually approached them and said, would they be interested? So they said, she didn't tell the authors, she just told me. And she said, you know, they sort of had a think about it and got back to her a week later and said, yep, we want to pick you up and we'll put you in our July-August catalogue. So it's not a dead given that it's going to be in Big W and, you know, QBD and things like that, but it's just one step closer. What it does mean is,
and it's a any form of distribution of a book other than what you're trying to do yourself is amazing, you know, and it's also going to be able to make contact with people who really need to read it. Not everybody goes on Amazon.
Yeah. Well,
but
that's right.
Everybody walks into Big W.
Oh, I mean, I buy my books from Big W.
Yeah, because
so
A, they're a good price, and B, they've got a good selection.
Okay, so more questions would be then, I'm sitting down and going through, so my next book is to Chemo with Love.
Yes.
Now, in all the readings I've had beforehand, they said that my first book was going to do well, the second book would do better, but it's the third book that makes it. Is this counted as a third book if the second book was a group book?
Yes.
Okay.
It's still a book. It's still the second one you've done. It doesn't matter that it's a compilation.
Okay. Okay.
You're still an author by right in that book.
Okay. Okay.
So
okay. So the next question is, in terms of writing that book, I'm just going to thump this one out. Yes. And I'm not going to be putting in the due diligence that I thought I was putting this huge weight on my shoulders that I had to do a certain way. I actually met with Catherine today just to run things through, and she said, this is just get it out. Just get it out. She's given me the name of how to do this really cheaply, because my other book cost me so much. Let's just get it out, because this is part of 4 books.
Yeah. And you've got and piggybacking it onto something that's already being released will help you. Like, I can see there's an international direction for it, but Big W is a very big tick when we talk about where this book is going to be seen. And so if, you know, I think the cooperation between you and Catherine is also going to help you with that third book, get it out there in a much better way. Okay, because I mean, she basically, you know, when we went through things, she sort of said, look, she said she's very good at figuring out that this isn't going to be it's not part of my business plan. Yeah. You know, these books are part of my passion for helping people, but it's not part of my business. No. Like, this is not, you know, that's why you knock it out of the park and just get and that's why she said you know, just get it out there, not as in you're getting it out there so that it stops people from calling me every day. And you know, also, I'm doing all this free work. Honey, the thing is, your public speaking is going to make you more money than anything. Okay, and that suits me. Because I enjoy that. Yes. So being able to travel, go on book tours and you know, and be an author of more than one book, and it makes it much better for women's groups and other organisations to want to pay for you to speak at whatever event that they're doing. And so you need that kind of notoriety, and that's why these books need to happen. But also these books need to happen to help the people that are reading the books. Yeah. As you know, as putting it in and going, well, I need to, you know, understand that whilst I'm writing this, I need to write it for the person that's reading it. It's not just to get it on a page and to get it finished, but how do you want the person to feel that's reading it? What outcome do you want for them? What's the purpose of this book?
Oh, it's to empower them to
Correct.
change
Correct.
outcomes,
Correct.
to make a much better, wiser choices.
Correct.
Yeah.
So understand, if you go into writing it on that mindset without getting bogged down in all the stuff, it has to be uplifting. It has to be confrontational. It has to be supportive. But it has to have some meat in the sandwich of, how do I do this?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do I get through this? You've got someone that's sitting there that may have just been diagnosed.
Well, you know, I know for a fact that people are asking for this book
Yeah.
because they've read the first book and they're, but you know, where's the next one? So I know that that helps. Yep, that's our time. Yeah.
Okay, we'll continue because
Yeah.
I need to finish it. But
It is, yeah, it's so yeah, okay, well then that, because yeah, Catherine had said a few things that kind of made me think, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. She said that, you know, I write like I have a thesaurus beside me, and it's very, you know, I speak in metaphors and analogy, and I said, oh, I don't know how to be anything other than me. So I got that bit out the way. And the other thing she said is, don't ever write a diary. And I'm like, that's what I'm writing. So once we got through all of that today, and you know, and figured that out, that it actually is my style and it's going to work okay, and you know, I've got the strength.
And you are going to smash it out really, really easily.
Okay.
Because you've lived it, honey, and all you're doing is going, okay, just as if someone came into your lounge room and said, I've just been diagnosed, or I've just had this, and I can't see my way clear, I can't, come here, let me hold your hand.
Yes.
Let me help you get through this to the end, that there is a rainbow at the end, that there is, you know, and appreciate and have gratitude for everything.
So do you, when you have a look at that, because I was supposed to write it last year, didn't get the motivation, didn't get up and doing it. Do you see it on the books for this year? The timeline.
I'm getting November. I'm saying you could do this by November.
Okay. Well, that's actually a long lead run, because I know that the last time was August I started and got it out in November. So that gives plenty of time.
I think November's a good month for you to release books, you know?
Well,
because there's two
love...
reasons. One, it gives time to promote and get it organised, but two, it's just before Christmas.
Well, actually, November's too late. So we think that November's good, but by then all the bookshops have already done their orders.
Yeah.
So they've already done their orders.
Within 3 months. They're basically saying you've got 3 months to get your ass into gear.
Okay.
That's their exact wording. And that is like having to sit down and just smash it out, and then let the editors sit round and pummel it into bits and make it into something that, you know, that is what they're good at. And I think this will be the quickest book you've ever written.
You know what, I feel, after having a conversation with Kat today, having this conversation, I feel like I could sit down and write the book tonight.
Yeah. And you know what? Start. Like, there's no time like the present when you're enthused and when you're, you know, and it's not going to be as difficult as you think because you've lived it. And what you have to put in your mind is, how can I explain to someone who's just been diagnosed or just going through it or just organising, what do I need to tell them to not do? What do I need to tell them to do? Who do they need to find to help get them the biggest amount of help that they possibly can? And who's going to hold their hand and all the way through it? And that's what you're writing this for.
Oh, I know that this, it wasn't my idea to write books. I know that this is been told to me. So it's following through, and that's what I explained to Catherine. She's not into any weird shit at all. And I just sort of said, you know, Catherine, I'm writing these books because it's
Hey,
part.
my daughter's exactly the same. Like, she's had a woo-woo mother since birth, you know, and she is the most un-woo-woo. In fact, the only time that she's ever asked me for a reading was last year when they were buying the house, and then they missed out on getting the house, and she was really upset, and she rang me and said, Mum, can you please tell me that I'm going to get this house, or how to get this house, because I really want it. And I did, but all her friends have had readings, and, you know, but she is the most un-woo-woo person you could possibly meet. I mean, you know, yes, she teaches creative writing. Yes, she's doing a PhD writing a novel. Yes, she works as an editor, you know, editing people's books and doing all of that sort of thing. And I always look at her and say, well, you know, you're far more educated, that she speaks 4 languages. You know, so far, you know, she was gifted and talented. Like, she read The Hobbit at 4 years of age, and so she's, you know, I look at her and I go, on her education level, she's certainly far surpassed what I ever could have done. You know, I was only a lowly journalist, not all of these sorts of things. But it's quite funny that, you know, I kind of see Catherine in that same light. You know, it's that same. And they don't have a clue, you know. They don't have a clue that there's any way, shape or form possible. Or
Look, I think that people just ignore my messages in the group chat, because one of them spoke about, oh, the cat's sitting on that, something about it being, and I said, well, it was always going to be a good month. I said, numerology wise, April is an abundance month because it's the 4th month of the 2020, and we had 3 portals of 444 open.
Yeah,
exactly. and I anchored in each of those. I said, of course it was going, and then it's like crickets. The group chat, just no one knows what to say. Dead quiet.
Oh my gosh.
So even down to, she wanted to launch on Saturday, and I wrote to her outside the group and I said, Catherine, would you mind if we can launch on Sunday? It's the 28th. The 1 is more powerful. It's got, you know, and it's got the 0, so it's got added gifts. It'll support us better.
And she just rolls her eyes just like my daughter does. And like I've been talking about manifesting. And the funny part was, how's this for the woo-woo? Not last year, but the year before. So when she first started her PhD, I love art and I love painting, and I was at a market selling an art market, which is run by the art association that I'm part of. So they're all artists that are in this market. And there was a fellow artist who had these 3 paintings of 3 penguins, right? And I bought them, and they weren't cheap, and I gave them to her for Christmas, and I said, these are your 3 penguins, and I don't mean the bird. And she went, oh, Mum, penguin will never be interested in me. And I went, well, don't say that, because then it won't happen. I said, you need to put those up on your wall in your office. And she's in the short list this year for the Penguin Prize, literary prize.
For the first penguin. There's still going to be another 2.
Yeah, right. So she just, you know, she just shakes her head and, yeah. You know, and I'm just saying, you know, you need to manifest now that that's yours, that it's not anybody else's, that for you to be able to get that, you need to have the momentum now and believe that you deserve it and it's possible, you know. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But she's already got 2 agents from New York that have already read what she's written and have already put in. And normally it takes about 8 or 9 weeks for editors, for agents to get back to you. And within 24 hours, she had 2 different New York agents say, I'm really interested in what you have to show me more. So, and I've always said to her, New York is, you know, there's a connection to New York. And I laugh because it's happening. And she's just like, how do you know that, Mum? And
I'm the futurist. You should book in with me sometime.
yes. But I can see Catherine is very much like Hayley, you know, very, very much. And so, yeah, it's super interesting when stuff happens. And I've been really, really fortunate. You know, I've had some really lovely feedback from people, and I love it when I get phone calls and they go, oh, guess what? You told me blah, blah, blah. And I still get excited, you know.
Or how Michelle, who booked in with you, and she said 15 years ago someone sent her your details.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's just this, I've never met Michelle, you know, like she's a Facebook friend, like just the synchronicity of, oh, you know, speaking to her and like, oh, I've just had a reading with Danina. I think you need to chat in with her. And yeah.
And did she love her reading?
I haven't connected back in with her. I need to.
She wrote a lovely...
She did say that everything you said was spot on.
Yeah.
But I haven't spoken. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she wrote a lovely testimonial, which was really, really nice. I'm having to force myself. My web designer is like, you have to put these things up. I cannot stress enough. If you want to be writing books and you need to be doing this and you've got to be, you know, and I don't like promoting myself.
Yes, but it's not promoting, you're serving.
Yeah. I still see it as promoting.
No,
even
because
getting nominated.
if you're serving your community, what you're saying is that you know that without you, their life will be worse.
Yes, it's true. But
So,
I don't have a big head, and I don't, you know, there's people in my industry that unfortunately are quite ruthless and quite horrible, and you know, I don't tend to get in. I have some lovely friends that I've been able to find over the last, probably more so in the last 3 years than the whole 40 years that I've been doing this. But and finding the like-minded people that have that same integrity, which is really, really lovely. But it's few and far between, unfortunately, you know, that so many don't believe in the abundance and oh, you know, she's copying what I'm doing and blah, blah. I said, well, there's plenty for everybody, you know, stop stressing. It's good, you know. And I got a message today, and I congratulated someone else for being nominated for the business thingy, and they said, oh, how come you're congratulating them? And I went, well, you know, it's wonderful that they got nominated as well. You know, why shouldn't we be happy that but they might beat you. I'm just happy for being nominated, let alone where else that's going to take.
But also 2020 and shifting out of 3D to 5D, we're not separate.
No, exactly.
We are one. What is in someone else is in us. And so, you know, the congratulations that's a really high frequency, and what you're putting out, you're bringing back in.
Exactly. You know, and that is just so important. But it's exciting. But yes, I'm you know, every time I make sure that you share it. Yes, okay.
Well, testimonials, especially, you know, when you screenshot it and crop it and keep it in a folder on your phone, because they make excellent Facebook posts.
Yeah.
Oh, I just love it when I get this kind of feedback. And you can see, when you collect them all, you can then just put them in through like a little movie like Ripple, where you just have them rotating around. So I think that there's huge value in that. And
I mean, I love doing readings, and I love the little bits and pieces that I do on Facebook, but my passion is teaching, and I love teaching manifestation. I just so wish that you'd had the opportunity to come up and be in when we did that manifestation.
That was when I was going down to do my arm.
Yeah.
So, and it's clearly, clearly there's something, these two cats are going to fight. Clearly something that is coming up
Yeah.
to do, but, you know, maybe
I mean,
it's
I
in a
love that.
different way.
I love, I'm, you know, I've been out of the public eye for so long because of the weight that I was, and being in a wheelchair for 6 years, you know, I think I put on like 56 kilos, and so being out in public and being out, you know, doing the face thing, I found really, really, really difficult. But now that I've lost 40 kilos and still going, and the transformations that I've created in the last sort of 2 years, I'm less hermit, more being proud of the, you know, my growth and everything on that level. And I was asked to do a little video just off the cuff for the Maldives for the 4 seasons. And I just did one take of just, this is who I am, this is what I do. I should send it to you, but it's a,
Please
you know,
do.
it, you know, it could be a lot more polished, but it was and they just wanted a little view in of a taste of what it is that who I am, kind of thing. And yes, it can certainly be worked on, and I'm very fortunate that I have a son who's doing his diploma in screen and media at the moment, and so
How lucky are you?
putting the magic together when I'm ready, you know, as far as teaching is concerned, will be awesome. But Chris is, you know, he's on the spectrum, and he's definitely, you know, found his passion in doing the screen and media, and so it'll be interesting to see where he heads in, you know, where he's going, and that's exciting. But, you know, it's amazing, the synchronicity and the people that you need to meet at the right time for different things. And I'm just excited for the ride. I really am. You know, like these next 3 years are going to be phenomenal for you and phenomenal for me. And
You know, you like, you can feel it.
yeah,
You can
it's
feel it.
palpable. It's absolutely palpable, and it's exciting, and you know, I was very tongue-in-cheek when I started to channel this book that I'm writing at the moment, and it's basically called Beyond the Prophecy.
I honestly, I freaking love your title, and I think that there's a hook there.
Yeah.
Seriously, like, you hear it, and I'm like, ooh. I think that's going to be the natural first response.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what's channeled in the next few weeks for that, and then I want to lead into more of the manifestation side of things, and you know.
This, you know, I would think, like, this year is the 2 2s there. It's external chaos.
Yeah.
The 2 2s there are reminders of internal, taking personal responsibility of where our thoughts are going to go. So it's really the ideal year to launch a manifesting program, especially if you're doing it online,
Yeah.
and you can have it as an evergreen product. Definitely now, because that's, you know, that's what we keep talking about, is it's about holding yourself accountable and responsible for where you're letting your energy go.
And it's so important. Like, it is unbelievably important. So it's going to be exciting. I can't wait. You know, I can't. There's a reason for all of, even with COVID, and the more readings I do, the more reasons I see the benefits of what we're going through, and that's exciting. You know, I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait. But I'll send you my little video clip.
Fabulous, fabulous.
I mean, talk about manifesting for writing. I went and got my professional photos taken.
Do you know what? Seriously, that was the best advice I ever got given by some girlfriends. But it's like, if you are serious about business, you have to go get your professional photos done. Yeah. And the first time I didn't even have professional photos at my wedding, and I cried all the way through the photo shoot. I felt it was the most difficult thing. But those professional photos mean that someone asks for something, everything looks smick. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
And
It-
and I love, you know, even though I wasn't happy even with the size that I was, when I went in to have them done, there was such an urgency to get them done. And then the offer for working with the Four Seasons sort of came up, and then I needed a good quality, you know, photo shoot kind of stuff to have happened, and I had already had them done, and within 10 minutes I'd sent it to them, and they went, "Oh, that's perfect, that's great." And I went, you know, the Celestine sort of direction of even getting those things done, you know. So and it's a wild ride. You just got to hang on and keep going.
I honestly feel like once you do your professional photos, it's like giving the universe permission for things to flow. Like, honestly, because it is like you just, I don't know, it's a package.
Yeah. And you're announcing to the universe that's
you're ready to step up.
Yeah.
You're ready to be seen.
It's cool. All right, my darling, I am going to get my son organised. It's so lovely to have you. Now, how did you want to do payment today?
I'm going to do what I did. I've got your details. I'm just looking for my phone.
Yep.
I've got your details in my phone. Did that come into your account like last? Did you checked?
Yes.
So I got all things. Okay. Well, I'll just
good.
do this. I'll do the same one. I'll do a screenshot and then I'll just send it to Messenger.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you, my darling.
Fabulous.
So chatting.
And has my sister booked in yet?
Yes, she's booked in for Saturday.
Okay, because she has two little ones, and so I know that she would have had to arrange for, you know, when she doesn't. So perfect.
So it's fine. And did you say you wanted one for Mum as well?
For Mother's Day, I need to pay for one of those for my mum. Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's fine. If you want to, I do have
not on Mother's Day, but for Mother. Yes.
I do have hard copy vouchers if you want me to send one up for you.
Oh, you know, I'll just send her a thing and just say the same as what I did with my sister. Yeah. Okay. And I'll do it on Sunday, on the Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, Mum. This is Danina. You know, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm actually sneaking to Holbrook on Friday the 8th.
Where's Holbrook?
Holbrook is near Albury, which is where my mum's living. And my stepfather is a truck driver. And so I'm sneaking in his truck on the Friday because I don't want to get caught driving out of town. And so I'm going to turn up on the Friday night and stay the weekend for Mother's Day, and then come home with him on the Monday. So so it doesn't matter where I'll be. Hey, buddy, what's up?
About there.
What is it?
I don't know.
Where was that?
In my hair. When I looked really closely, it looked like a tiny little insect.
Oh, it's probably just a bug, sweetie. I'll have a close look at it. It's all right. I'll come and talk. Is it your head itchy?
No,
You haven't been near anyone, so I don't think it's head lice. Doesn't look like head lice, darling. I think it's just a little bug.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Check it out.
All right, sweetie. He's so funny. Okay, I'll have to have a closer look at that. I'm sure it's fine. He hasn't been around anybody he hasn't been snuggling with anybody other than me. Even his girlfriend they're not allowed to see each other, so I find that quite funny. All right, my darling.
Okay, super. So tentatively, for like, because for the after you get back from seeing your mum, book my mum in. Like if we, and I'll just
and we'll need.
She's not going anywhere. And she doesn't work, so she can make any time.
So is she in Townsville or?
No, she's in the Gold Coast.
Okay. So, buddy chat. When would you like that?
Oh, anytime.
Okay.
I just can't do tomorrow at 12.
No. Well, let's aim for Sunday. How does Sunday sound?
Yep.
Okay. Well, you let me know what time best suits. I've got readings in the morning, but I haven't got anything in the afternoon. So
Okay. Well, let
we'll
us
do-
know. Yeah, Sunday's I usually do a big cook up. Mark only finishes work and we sort of sit down and have a late lunch at about 2:30.
Yeah.
So a little bit after that so that I can finish up that.
and,
Yes.
and just when we're relaxed and we can sit and have a quick chat, catch up.
Okay, because I haven't done any of the writing sprints because I had my arm in bandaging and I just said to Kat, I can't keep up. I can't do it.
And that's
Yeah.
okay. It's not about the sprints. It's about,
Yes.
hey,
Making time.
what do you need me to listen to?
Yeah.
What, that's the whole point of being a buddy, is so that, okay, I've got to have something down by Sunday.
I know. It's like, okay, game on. Oh, okay, fabulous. Let me go find my phone and do the exchange. Thank you very much.
When you're ready.
Okay, bye-bye.
Have a good night. Bye.